This is a Sandler Training audiobook produced and distributed by Gildan Media in partnership with Sandler Training. The Sales Coach's Playbook, Breaking the Performance Code, by Bill Bartlett. Narrated by Pratt. We hope you enjoy this program. To David H. Sandler, who on October 24, 1994, had a profound impact on my life when he allowed me to be a part of his fantastic business community. David's marvelous selling methodology had a deep impact on my professional and personal life. To David Matson, whose masterful leadership has taken Sandler Training to a new level of success. He has raised the river, and with it, allowed all boats to rise accordingly. Forward by David Matson. As a manager, you always want to make sure that your salespeople are fulfilling their potential. Every single touch point you have with them should be driven by a very simple question. How can you best support them in increasing both their effectiveness, meaning their ability to do the right things, and their efficiency, meaning their ability to do those things well? You also have to ask yourself another important question. How do you protect your own precious time? How do you avoid falling into a time trap day after day? How do you keep yourself out of the stressful scenario in which you solve everyone else's problems, often the same problems, over and over again, while your team underperforms? This book helps you address both big questions. It does that by supporting you in your development as a sales manager within the area that is, potentially, the single highest impact element of your job, which is sales coaching. Many sales leaders underestimate the importance of sales coaching. This happens, at least in part, because they haven't been exposed to the kinds of dramatic performance changes that effective sales coaching can bring about. What's more, they may begin with an incomplete understanding of what effective sales coaching really is. Another challenge is the common preconception that the most important group for the organization to train is the sales team. In most situations, it's just as important that the managers train to improve their skill sets, specifically, the coaching skill set. In the vast majority of cases, sales managers simply aren't trained to the same level of proficiency demanded of most other job functions within the organization. The accountants and the engineers and the marketing people who work for a given enterprise are all likely to have advanced degrees in their field of specialty, and many of them are busy getting continuing education credits. That's part of their career path. That's expected. Compare that to the situation of the sales manager. Most of the people who wind up in this job don't get there because they were good managers. They got there because they were good salespeople. They take their new position without any sales management process to follow, and no one shares any process with them. All too often, their professional development plan is ineffective or non-existent. That's unfortunate for both the individual and the organization because it means that most sales managers do their learning through trial and error. There are two big problems with trial and error. It's the most expensive training for sales managers out there, and it's slow. While the time passes, teams underperform. Performance goals are missed, people get frustrated, promising careers are compromised. As an alternative, this book offers you the following. 1. An overview of the 4 different jobs a sales manager must be able to do: mentor, trainer, supervisor, and coach. Most sales managers neglect their own development in at least one of those areas. 2. An in-depth examination of what is and isn't part of the coaching function. This is essential because often coaching is poorly understood. Managers frequently think they're coaching salespeople when in fact they're not. And 3. A proven 7-step methodology for coaching salespeople effectively based on the principles developed by David H. Sandler, the founder of Sandler Training. Improving this one area of sales management, coaching, can have a huge positive impact in both the short term and the long term. When properly executed, Sales coaching delivers a positive ripple effect that leads to truly remarkable performance turnarounds for both individuals and teams. By the way, each chapter of this book features a true story of such a turnaround. The names and some identifying details have been altered. The program laid out in this book has been proven to work across virtually all industries. It can work for you. It does require an investment of time and attention, and it may challenge you to change some of your existing patterns of behavior, but I would ask you to consider the upside of investing the modest amount of time and personal focus necessary to learn about and master the Sandler coaching system. Once you master it, you and your organization can fast forward over years or even decades of trial and error. Whether you are just starting out in the job of sales manager, have been doing the job for a few years, or have been doing it for decades, you will find in this audiobook insights and processes that will accelerate your own learning curve as a manager, extend the productive life cycle of your best performers, and help your team as a whole to achieve at a measurably higher level. David H. Mattson, President and CEO, Sandler Training. Chapter 1. The Basics. Overview. In this chapter, we'll cover defining sales coaching, why you should invest time in coaching, the relationship between coaching and performance, the big picture of coaching, and why managers fail at coaching and how to prevent this. In this chapter, you will learn the importance of coaching and why sales managers must use it to help salespeople grow. There is a direct link between effective coaching and performance improvement. The key to improvement is behavioral modification. What is effective sales coaching? There is no one-size-fits-all sales coaching model. There are only approaches that have been shown to be successful in particular situations. The best idea is to identify each individual salesperson's personal success code and use that code to unlock the salesperson's potential for success. It's up to the coach to choose the right approach for the salesperson and the situation. Effective sales coaching adjusts to particular people and circumstances. The chapters that follow offer an overview of the sales coaching practices I have found to be the most effective over the past 4 decades, along with the discussion of the situations in which they are most likely to be useful. The Playbook for effective sales coaching that you are now listening to is based on the proven principles of the Sandler Selling System methodology. It's intended for sales leaders who want to improve their performance within the special role we call coach, a role that is, as you will see, distinct from the other 3 sales management roles of supervisor, mentor, and trainer. If you are such a leader, please do keep listening. You are the person for whom the Sandler coaching system was created. Whenever you hear the words coach and coaching, please assume I'm talking to and about you. Sandler Coaching Insight. In order for your sales coaching to be truly effective, first determine the individual salesperson's current level of skill in a given area. Be willing and able to coach to that level of skill, not to a future or desired level of skill. When coaching efforts are unsuccessful, it's usually because the coach has, for one reason or another, overlooked this principle. What does it mean? Sales coaching is a formal process that uses one-on-one meetings to help salespeople achieve new levels of success by discovering hidden issues that inhibit their performance. Contrary to popular belief and practice, effective sales coaching is not showing them how to do it. Critical behavior modification. Coaching salespeople for improved performance must begin with a clear understanding of the following: the individual salesperson's current level of skill, the salesperson's knowledge of the behaviors critical to success in certain selling situations, and the salesperson's self-awareness during the sales process. In order for your sales coaching to be effective, you must focus on critical behavior modification, not on the imparting of new skills. The salesperson's current level of effectiveness is always the starting point, along with being the benchmark for improvement over time. Barb's story. My coaching client Barbara started her business about 10 years ago. Barb is a brilliant idea person. Her business took off instantly. As she herself said, she caught lightning in a bottle and quickly built a customer base. As so often happens, the founder of a young company emerged as its first and best salesperson. Barb hired a sales team. The company cruised along fine at the beginning, showing consistent growth over its first 3 years. The idea behind the business was so strong that the business model alone propelled most of the growth during this early phase. In the 4th year, however, the business slowed and eventually stalled. Barb pushed her salespeople harder than ever before. You see, she knew how great the business could be once again if only her salespeople would do what she, Barbara, would do in various selling situations. She coached them by telling them over and over again what to do. By year 5, some of Barb's best salespeople had quit because the pressure to perform was too great. The company's downward spiral continued in the first quarter, which was when Barbara reached out to me for help. We began with a one-on-one coaching process. I met with her weekly. I was eager to learn what was really behind the flattening of her business's revenue streams. Barbara was reluctant at first to be vulnerable during our sessions. She blamed her salespeople. It took a few weeks of discussion for us to reach a point where she understood that her salespeople were not the enemy and that she herself played a major role in the problems her business was facing. In time, we developed a new leadership model, one with which Barb was comfortable. It emphasized coaching, mentoring, and training, de-emphasized the supervisory role, which Barb assigned to someone else, and fit well with her personal management style. This new approach to sales management helped her encourage her salespeople to make and sustain important behavioral changes over time, rather than asking them to master on the spot the sales tactics with which Barb herself was most comfortable. Barb soon gained a much deeper understanding of the issues of each member of the sales team, and she stopped micromanaging. This new style worked well for the remainder of year 6 as well as all of year 7. The revenue trend improved. Eventually, Barb decided to devote more of her time to running the company. She hired a sales manager with the specific skills necessary to work with the sales force. Barb and I still meet, but now we focus on more strategic issues. My coaching focuses on planning, communication, and the image of Barb's business. This 4-year relationship has transformed Barbara as well as her business and has put her on track to achieve the success she deserves. Language matters. The language of an effective coaching session is vitally important, and understanding it is your first responsibility. This language is expressed both verbally and nonverbally. The most effective coaches understand the nature of nonverbal messaging. They're good at reading body language and tonality to determine a given salesperson's level of buy-in to the coaching process. Managers must understand that they cannot sell coaching to salespeople who don't yet associate it with success. Nothing good results from a coaching session where the salesperson sits quietly and gets involved on an intellectual level but has no emotional ownership of the process. Coaching is most effective when salespeople are willing to be vulnerable and share meaningful experiences. Once they realize that certain behaviors, if changed, will help them improve and create even greater success, they become equal partners in the coaching process, not before. Language, spoken and otherwise, is always the gateway to that partnership. The most powerful coaching moments, for salespeople and everyone else, involve individuals analyzing their own deeply held personal beliefs and considering whether those beliefs are driving them toward greater success or holding them hostage. Far too many salespeople are prisoners of negative patterns resulting from broken personal belief systems that limit their ability to grow. The best coaches know that the language employed during the coaching session is a vitally important tool for creating breakthroughs around the assessment of those belief systems. Accordingly, they choose their words and their nonverbal messaging with great care. Throughout this book, you'll be getting suggestions on how to interact with salespeople. As you move from thinking about this advice toward putting it into practice, I'd like to ask you to remember this. The words you choose to speak during coaching sessions are important, but they are not the only communication the salesperson with whom you are working will process. The tone of voice you use, the facial expressions you employ, and the way you present yourself physically will also have a powerful impact. Truth be told, these nonverbal messages are more important to the success of your coaching than the words you choose to say. Ultimately, you are responsible for all of the messages you send to the salesperson you are coaching, not just for the recitation of the right words during the session. 4 things sales managers do. Coaching is one of the most critical elements of leadership of the sales team, or indeed of any team. Coaching supports the other 3 major functions of leadership, which are supervising, mentoring, and training. Sandler Coaching Insight. Coaching represents about 35% of the successful leadership role and has the single greatest impact on the future success of the salesperson. Coaching has absolutely nothing to do with directing the actions of the salesperson. It is singularly focused on helping salespeople generate a personal understanding of better ways to act while they are in the selling environment. The successful coach thoroughly understands the 7-step Sandler Selling System and uses that knowledge to help salespeople commit to better execution and improved behavior. David Sandler patterned his selling system after the compartments of a submarine. Each step of the selling system mirrored a submarine's compartments. Each must be traversed in the proper order to move through the sales process. The steps of the Sandler submarine are 1. Bonding and rapport. Building a relationship by developing a way to communicate effectively with the prospect and building trust. 2. Upfront contracts. Getting on the same page as the prospect by setting expectations and ensuring an outcome to each sales call. 3. Pain. Finding the prospect's reason to buy and gaining a commitment to resolve any issues keeping the prospect from greater success. 4. Budget. Determining what the prospects are willing and able to invest to fix their pain. 5. Decision. Working with the prospect's process to make a decision on your product or service. 6. Fulfillment. Matching solutions to each pain uncovered during the sales process. And finally, 7. Post-sell. Dealing with buyer's remorse and blocking competitors from reopening a sale that has closed. Where are they right now? The effective coach recognizes the level of acceptance, openness, and commitment to success each individual salesperson brings to the coaching session. Specifically, the coach gauges the salesperson's current level of commitment to implementing the Sandler Selling System. With each new salesperson, the coach first asks, "Where is this person right now?" It should go without saying that the effective coach is just as committed to the Sandler principles as the salesperson is, and is committed, too, to some core assumptions about effective management. Among these assumptions is the idea that coaching is quite different from the other 3 functions of the sales manager. For one thing, it's impossible to coach in a group setting, such as a weekly sales meeting. Coaching always takes place in a one-on-one environment and is customized to the salesperson's learning style and individual needs. For another thing, coaching is not about particular targets. Many managers fail in the coaching role because they focus on achieving desired numerical results instead of supporting significant behavior modification and growth. The manager acting effectively as a coach shifts away from the need to direct change and fix problems and focuses instead on helping the salesperson discover for himself a more effective way to act in the selling situation. Begin at the beginning. Each coaching session begins with 2 assessments. One by the person to be coached, called the self-assessment, and the other by the coach, designated as the coaching assessment. You'll learn more about these a little later on in the book. Just as important as the assessments is an understanding of the nature of the coaching meetings. The most successful coaches help salespeople understand that coaching is a developmental process. It's designed to help the salesperson become a better person, not just a more productive worker. The time challenge. Coaching must be consistently scheduled at regular intervals for it to be effective and deliver the desired results. Many managers fail because they view coaching as an event designed to correct some specific, narrowly defined problem and/or achieve a particular numerical result. Instead, the goal of coaching is continuous growth by the salesperson over a measured period of time. Managers who believe they don't have the time in their crowded schedule for coaching typically focus on micromanaging sales quotas and selling activity. They only have one-on-one meetings with the salesperson for short-term emergencies, rather than for long-term changes to patterns of interaction. The successful coach has studied Sandler's identity role theory, understands the impact of self-worth on achievement, and helps salespeople maintain a strong identity and belief in self, while at the same time helping them improve role performance. If the concepts of identity and role are new to you, here's a brief overview. The Sandler concept of self-worth is based on the separation of identity, meaning who you are, and role, meaning what you do. Role performance is based on the behavior salespeople perform in order to be successful in their jobs. Furthermore, coaching focuses on helping salespeople further develop their strengths and overcome blind spots that form unproductive patterns. This kind of relationship unfolds not in one or two intense crisis sessions, but through consistent interaction, ideally every 2 weeks. A safe environment. Coaching must take place in a safe environment in which the coach and salesperson have the ability to share open, honest, fact-based feedback. Many managers confuse coaching with training. They view the coaching process as a way to fix issues negatively impacting the bottom line, often creating an environment that feels unsafe for the salesperson. How do you feel when someone tries to fix you? Training is the imparting of new skills. Coaching, on the other hand, is a way of empowering salespeople to use their existing skill set more effectively in the context of the sales process and thus achieve greater success. Like good sales calls, coaching sessions require a strong upfront contract in which the participants develop and agree to a meaningful agenda. This agenda becomes the focus of the session. A time contract specifying the duration of the meeting is critical for the initial session as well as all succeeding sessions. A special note about upfront contracts. All Sandler trainers understand the power of the upfront contract in the sales process. This is equally important in the coaching process. In coaching, an upfront contract covers the time frame for the session, the timing of the follow-up sessions, and the salesperson's agenda and coaching methodology. Lastly, the upfront contract ensures there are actionable next steps as well as accountability on the part of both salesperson and coach. What does it mean? Newcomers to the Sandler Selling System may ask, what is an upfront contract? The objective and intended outcome of a coaching discussion, the time element, and the role each party will play in reaching the intended outcome should all be agreed on in advance, preferably when the meeting is scheduled, and reviewed and reconfirmed at the beginning of the meeting. Agreeing in advance about the topics for discussion, as well as what information will be provided and by whom, ensures against both misunderstandings and unfulfilled expectations. By establishing an objective for the interaction, the topics to be discussed, and the intended outcome, along with any associated next steps, this upfront contract not only sets the direction and tone of the discussion, but also provides a guidepost for getting the conversation back on track should it begin to wander off course. It establishes benchmarks by which to measure the progress during the meeting as well. Here is an example of an upfront contract between the coach and salesperson. Coach: Thanks for taking the time to meet today. This session will take approximately 45 minutes. I have blocked the time so we won't have any interruptions. During the session, we will focus on prospecting since you seem to be struggling in that area. We will both contribute thoughts on ways to improve your effectiveness in this key area, and at the end, develop some action steps for you to perform between this session and the next one. Are you comfortable spending our time this way? Salesperson: Yes, I am. Coach: Is there anything you'd like to add? Salesperson: I'm struggling with developing a consistent prospecting methodology, so I avoid working on it. Additionally, I have trouble dealing with the constant rejection I face on the phone. Coach: I'll add those to the agenda, and we can deal with those issues during the session. The salesperson must take accountability for executing any new behaviors discussed in the coaching session, and these actions should be specifically summed up at the session's end. Sandler Coaching Insight. The Coaching Upfront Contract incorporates the following: purpose or goal, time, meaning the meeting and its follow-up, salesperson and coach agenda, coach's role and process, and accountability and next steps. Discovery-based thinking. Coaching salespeople requires discovery-based thinking. In this kind of thinking, salespeople open their minds and determine their own solutions to any problems. The best coaching sessions involve the salesperson discovering new ways to modify existing behavior to achieve the desired outcome. This is impossible when the salesperson does not feel safe. Sandler Coaching Insight. Coaching is not an event. Rather, it's a process of ongoing discovery. Often it fails because it is seen as a one-and-done session where change is supposed to take place instantaneously. 3 critical elements. The 3 critical elements to understand during each coaching session are what, reason, and importance. By this I mean the shared purpose of the coaching session, the what, why it is necessary to achieve the mutually agreed upon goal, the reason, and the real-world impact the accomplishment will have for the salesperson, the importance. Successful coaches are able to establish all 3 early in coaching relationships and to measure the level of trust the salespeople have in them. Trust is a key factor driving success and can be measured using the same symbols used in the Olympics: gold, silver, and bronze. Gold-level trust is achieved over time. This must be the coach's ultimate goal. The most productive coaching sessions involve the highest level of trust between participants. This high level of trust fosters internal exploration through openness and vulnerability, and speeds growth and development. Silver-level trust is that which exists when there is the potential for growth, but there is not yet complete openness and vulnerability. Bronze-level trust is that which exists when there are no barriers to constructive interaction, but the coaching relationship has only just begun. Strategic versus tactical coaching. Most successful coaches conduct 2 forms of coaching sessions: strategic and tactical. Strategic coaching focuses on helping salespeople plan for success. Tactical coaching helps them understand the skills and execution traps preventing them from greater success. Note that tactical coaching does not equate to, "Here, watch me do it." In both strategic and tactical coaching, the number one focus of the coach is to ask critical questions in order to help the participant fully understand the issues driving the coaching session. Advanced questioning skills are key to successful strategic and tactical coaching sessions. They help the coach avoid the telling and fixing trap. The coach's best friend is active listening. The simple query, "Tell me more," gets the information ball rolling and allows the participant to play a movie of the events leading up to the session. What does it mean? Active listening is the process of reflecting back to the speaker the message you heard in order to confirm or correct your understanding. It can be
Sample complete. Ready to continue?